Hi there everybody, and welcome to another video. So on today's video I have this BMW E90, a 3 Series. This is a 2008 model, petrol automatic. Now this car broke down and it was overheating, so it overheated and it broke down. So at the moment, well, they towed it into me, and it apparently may need a water pump or something like that. First they thought that it was leaking coolant, but as soon as I open this I can see that there is plenty of coolant in there, a little bit too much in fact. That should be about there really, but anyway, so I've just plugged the computer and I've got, apart from this, we can ignore this here because this is a catalytic converter issue, but and a fuel pump, that's not related either. However, down here we have the electric coolant pump cutoff and electric coolant pump speed deviation. So it is very likely that the electric coolant pump has failed and it's not circulating coolant. So I think one way of sort of checking if the coolant is working or not is if you get the car running, technically you should have coolant coming out of this hose into here. So let me get the car running. Okay, car is running, but there's no coolant circulation going on here at all. And in fact, I have another BMW, so exactly like this. So we'll have a look at that just now. Here's the other car. It's not running. Let's get it running, and then we can check. Let's get this started. Okay, so that's basically what should be happening. You should have water coming out of there. And this is more or less at the right level, unlike the other one. So the other one is not circulating. So just enter the module here to do an actuation test. So this technically switches on certain things like the fuel pump, if you're testing the fuel pump, the electric fan or whatever, or the electric coolant pump in this case scenario. So if I try to switch it on, nothing happens. It's just like switching on the fan. If I want to test the fan, fans would technically should come on. So, fan is coming on. So at this minute in time, I'm just suspecting that the water pump is failed. I'm not really suspecting anything else like a fuse or a relay or anything like that. It's a fairly common issue, so I'm gonna be getting a new one and replacing it. So the particular water pump, this particular one is sitting somewhere down here. So if you're looking at your engine from this end, it's down there and at the bottom. So with the T20 Torx screws, I just removed this and that screw there, 3 screws to remove these, just to give us a little bit more access to play with down there. This literally comes out and you need to pop it out of there. which can be a bit stuck sometimes, but it should pop out, so just gonna use my 2 hands for that. Also, I'm gonna remove this cover. So just from down here you have a lot of 8mm screws like this one. There is quite a number of them, so just go ahead and remove them all, and so this cover will drop. Okay, once you have that cover off, I would suggest removing these 2 8mm as well. 8mm there, 8mm there, and maybe this cover will come out as well. That will sort of give you a bit of room to get your hand in there if you need to, because so the pump is the one sitting here together with that other bit there, and it's got a lot of hoses connected to it, so we might need to get our hand in this way to manipulate those hoses off. So I'm just gonna go ahead and remove these 2. Okay, so I have a better view from here. So that there is the water pump, and that other black thing sitting next to it is the thermostat. So I'm going to be changing the thermostat as well, since we are removing both parts. We might as well. So from up here, I'm just loosening these clamps. So there's lots of hoses connected, and I'm just sort of undoing the Jubilee clips. There's another one here. So this is the other one, another one there, and this hose connects to the thermostat, which will have another Jubilee clip, and I'm just undoing at the moment the one there. So I just got my tool connected there, and I'm undoing that one, making it loose as well. I'm using a 6mm socket to undo those clips. It's a bit easier than sometimes. Well, you can get a screwdriver on these ones, but on some of them it's a bit awkward, so you can use a little ratchet with a socket in order to loosen those clamps. So I'm looking for whichever hose that I can undo easily from up here, and then the ones that I can't see, we might have to try and undo from the bottom. And at the same time, I'm gonna try to disconnect this hose from up here now that I have the clamp loose, because if I can disconnect that, then some coolant will come out of there, obviously, and make sure you have a bucket to catch the coolant. Okay, so I'm just using this tool here to separate this rubber from the pump, but you really need to be careful with this, because sometimes you could prick, you can make a hole on the actual hose. So keep it facing down and just try to separate the hose a little bit from the connection, because it's going to be really stuck, same as the rest. So take your time if you're using something like this. Maybe there are safer tools out there that are not too pointy, but I haven't got any at the moment, so I have to use this, and I'm going to be careful doing what I'm doing here. So once I separate that a little bit, I can actually pull this hose and get some coolant out. Right, I was trying to get these holes out, the thick one, and I'm struggling a little bit, but then I decided to pull this one out, and it came out very easily. And all the coolant came out, so, well, at least that is out. But so this hose is quite an easy one to pull out. It's just plugged into the plastic, so I guess it doesn't stick like the other one does. Well, anyway, gives us a bit more room there to try and disconnect this one. And this hose is, this thick one here, is also connected to the thermostat. I think I may have said that already, but I don't want to damage this, so I'm being careful pulling it out. At least this one is out and the coolant is out, so I can just keep going here. There's no point obviously for me to film just the process. I am struggling to remove that, so if I find a specific way of doing it, then obviously I'll mention it. This other one, just I literally pulled it out and it came out. So there was nothing special with that one. Just had to undo the Jubilee clip, which was sitting a little bit next to the chassis there. It was a little bit difficult to get the socket in there, but you can get it in there. So apart from that, there was no difficulty on that hose. So this other one gets stuck to the pump, to the intake pipe there. So it takes a little bit more time and effort because you don't want to damage it. So anyway, enough blubbering. I'm just gonna carry on trying to undo that. Okay, I think it might be coming out now. So it just got a little bit unstuck when I put that tool in there. So I wonder if I can actually pull this up now. Yes, I can. So a bit more coolant there. And then we need to release this hose from this end. That might be a little bit more challenging. However, we may not have to do it at this stage. Maybe we can release the pump first and then get it loose and undo that. But make sure you undo this one here, because that will be the pump will come off of that hose when we remove the pump. But it appears to me that this hose here, it's fixed to this pipe which is attached to the engine, so that's not gonna be moving or going anywhere, which means we have to pull the pump sort of down. Right, let's try and get this nicely loose. Okay, that is well loose now, and I suppose we could work this hose off a little bit as well from this end and from the bottom, just so when we pull the pump out we don't struggle too much. Okay, now I'm gonna get the car up, and actually, having said that, I'm gonna get the car up, there is a bolt for this pump that is just literally sitting there. So maybe I'm gonna take the opportunity to crack that open from here. It's an that bolt is an E12. Actually, I think that bolt is an E11, but I have an E12 here, but it just about fits. But I know the E11 would fit better. But all we want to do is crack that open, and then you can actually undo it with your hand. Ignore everything I said. That bolt is actually an E10. So not an E12 nor an E11, it's an E10, and I do have an E10, so I was able to undo it. There we are. Right, so while we're up here, actually, we may want to try and disconnect that electrical connection back there. So if you can get something and push on that clip there, if you can see that, I'm just pushing on the clip there, so that clip, right, so this clip here, if you push on that clip, it will open and it will allow you to sort of maybe push this connection out. Okay, so that connection is pretty much unlocked and is now ready to slide out. So I'm just doing it from up here, so it might be easier to do from here than from the bottom, but at least it's off. And there might be another connection on the thermostat, which I wonder if I can actually undo from here as well. It's all difficult to film really because the location of this thermostat, it looks like it's easy, it's just sitting there, but it's a bit awkward with all the million hoses connected to it. So anyway, let me investigate that connection. Looks like an electrical connection. I can even get my hand maybe all the way down there and pull this. Right, so okay, I pulled the connection out, the one that was originally doing, and then it appears that there is another one. So I'll have a look and let you know. Okay, so I decided to remove one more clamp from here just before I go down, because I was just able to get my ratchet in there. So it's that clip, the Jubilee clip there, and my ratchet is just sitting behind. So that pipe is the one we removed, and so you might be able to see my ratchet just sitting there. It's really a good idea, or these ratchets that seem to rotate are really good, because then you have more opportunity to fit them in more places, especially awkward places like that. So that is what I'm doing now. If I can actually release that Jubilee clip and remove that hose, that would make life easier. Okay, here we are. These are the two bolts you need to remove in order to remove that pump, and those are actually, you need an E12 for those, and that is not a lie. But again, once you loosen those, you should be able to take them out by hand, if you can get your hand in there. Sorry, I'm just trying to film here, but it's a bit difficult to film and at the same time show you. Okay, so technically you should be able to get them by hand. They can be a little bit hard, but once you open them, once you crack them open, and you can just about get your ratchet there just to crack them open. So that's the idea there. Just take them out. And the two 10mm bolts I was referring to are the ones sitting just here. So one there and one there. Again, I've already loosened those. However, I actually loosened those using a spanner because I couldn't quite get my little ratchet in there. So therefore, I used the spanner. And now from this end here, you can go in there and undo them by hand. Once you crack them open, they're not tight at all. And if you drop them, just try to find them, so, because sometimes they go missing forever. And I can just about get to that one. That one's a little bit tighter for whatever reason. I did actually look for a fuse for this. I couldn't really see a fuse as such. Maybe somebody knows. But the reason I did look for a fuse is because that pump costs about £500 plus VAT from BMW. And the thermostat is around £100, 120, something like that. So you're looking at £600-700 worth of parts. So I guess you definitely want to make sure that those parts are the ones that failed. Right. Plus, obviously, if you're not doing it, if somebody else is doing it, then it's going to cost you a bit of money. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and remove these two as well, so that pump can come loose. And these should now be separated. There we are. Separated from each other, so we might be able to bring this pump out. We might be able to take it out from the top, but we have to disconnect it from that hose there still, that fixed hose to that metal pipe. I just put some paper here because water kept dripping on my arm and everything getting wet. So anyway, I'm gonna remove the two bolts. Okay, the bolts are out, so this is loose. So it's just hanging, it's basically hanging on that, on the hose up there. So let me just remove that for now. Maybe not dripping anymore. I'm sure I'll get some water. So that's where it is. May want to release that a little bit more. So I think you can see what I'm trying to do here. So I'm just gonna try to release that hose a little bit. I can do it easier with my two hands, and then that should come loose. Okay, wasn't too bad in the end. Once I was able to unstick that, just came out. So I should be able to pull this up, because I don't think I'm gonna I don't think I'm gonna get it from here. There's just too many things on the way. So, but I can easily pull it from the top. Not an issue there. But I was just wondering if I could. I don't really want to. It's kind of coming out of this way, but it's not what I want. I just wanted to have a look at the thermostat before I bring the car down again. So, well, I'm gonna try to put this to one side. Okay, the thermostat is there. I haven't been able to figure out how that electrical connection comes out yet. By the way, I never done one of these. So I'm sort of figuring out as I go along. But so far what I've managed to do is I pull the, as I showed you before, there is a clip that you need to pull out of that hose. So you can see the clip is come out, and then using this and sort of wedged against that, I twisted it like this a little bit, and that hose actually came loose. So it's ready to pull out basically. It will come out fairly easily because I already loosened it. So what I'm doing now is I'm trying to work on the other one, the bigger hose there, which again I also actually managed to pull the clip out. It might be a bit difficult to see. And actually it looks like my clip is gone back in. So that's the clip. Well, you can't really see it, but it's just somewhere there. The clip that we want to pull out in order to release this hose. Okay, it's proving a little bit hard to remove that thick hose, so I decided to, that hose goes up here, it's this one here. So again, I pull the clip out. It's just a clip that you pull out, and then I'm gonna try to disconnect this hose, but I'm gonna do it from above because it's also quite tight. I tried from here, but it's not happening. So I'll give it a go from the top. So removing this pipe from here has been such a humongous challenge. Originally I thought I was going to remove, you can see my clip there, remove this pipe and then get this, have more room to move this up towards me, but I can't even get this one out. So I'm just going to push that clip back in there because I just could not remove that hose. And so what I did is I forced, basically I just bent the hose so it can come this way, and finally I was able to pull it. I even removed the clip completely from that hose. So that's the little clip there. You can just fit it on the side again. It's not really an issue, but because it kept going back in, and it was just so hard to get it out. So if I can say I struggled with that, I definitely struggled with that. So in the end, what did I do? I used these two. I used those two, and so basically I have the thermostat here. So that was in there. So that was sitting in there. So I wedged this against the side there, on the side, and I wedged this other one there. So you can wedge it against this and pull it out a bit, and then you can get the other one on the other side and slowly wedge it out, because pulling it by hand was pretty much impossible. And I'm still trying to figure out how the hell this clip comes out. Okay, now I can see better now. It looks like we need to open if we can get this to sit still for 2 seconds. Right, what I can see now, because I couldn't see before with the pipe, is that you need to lift this bit here so lift that there, and then you might be able to get this connection out. Right, so I'll have to lift that there and get this out. So I might have to use my 2 hands on that, but I can see that that is more or less how that comes out now. Right, yeah, that's definitely the case. Just push that clip back and then you'll be able to get this connection out. It's obviously a little bit hard to pull because it's been there for a while, I guess, and maybe water and things gets in there and it gets a little bit stuck as everything else. You can just see that's the connection there. So it's a bit dirty. You can see the connection. The rubber there is also a bit dodgy. So anyway, now we got that out. Well, now everything is out. Actually my pump is sitting right here. That's the pump there. So the pump is not really stuck. You can actually rotate it. You can see that in there. There's like a turbine in there. But it's just not working. Well, at least I hope it's not working. But it's not an uncommon failure. So anyway, once I get the new one, I will show you the part number, because you might just about be able to see the part number on here. Maybe. It's a what is it, Pierberg 1517-526, and then I can't really see. So that's a BMW one, but you can still get the same Pierberg from another supplier that's not BMW that might be a bit cheaper. So, and also that, well, you may just have to get the genuine one. I'm not sure. It's about 100 and something pounds. I can actually just about see the part number on this one. I think it says 7552403, and below it says 10106810. It's 2008. Maybe nothing wrong with this, but we might as well change it as a pair. Right. Okay, got the pump, got the thermostat. So this is a Pierberg part. I think that's the genuine part, but I've got these not from BMW, somewhere else. It's a bit cheaper, about 300 pounds or so, and that, I'm not sure, I don't remember how much that was, about 100. So to be honest, from here on is pretty much a reversal of removal. So I'm just gonna get on with it. Maybe give you a bit of advice here. I will put a little bit of multi-purpose grease around these bits, just a little bit, so I can plug these hoses in a bit easier, even these ones here. And then put the motor in, get your two 10 mils in there, get your 3 bolts on the motor. I'm also going to plug the electrical connection to this one from up here, and then I need to bring this hose back to where it was, because I've got it, as you can see, it's just a bit twisted there, but that was for removing it. So yeah, once it's done, we can see how the pump starts working and the water comes out of here. Obviously you're gonna need coolant. I think I may have mentioned that already, but you're gonna need coolant for the car as well. So having said that, I'm just gonna get on with it, and then we'll see you at the end once I finish this. Just to show you a little bit of progress here, got my thermostat in, got this hose and the other one plugged in. So like I said, I put a little bit of copper grease, no, not copper grease, sorry, just multi-purpose grease, a little bit around this as well, and those two hoses went in very easily. I've got the connection in, so I've got the connection of the thermostat in, and also the connection for the pump is in. So all of this is still loose. Now I need to push that onto there. So I put a bit of, again, that grease. That should slide in there fairly easily. Make sure you get your Jubilee clip there before you push that in. And yeah, it looks like refitting these is a little bit easier than removing. I think the main issue with this is removing the hoses. So the refitting process is a little bit easier. I'm almost finished here. Just wanted to give you a tip. If you are tightening your Jubilee clips with a ratchet, small ratchet, I'm using a tiny little ratchet, but you can still over tighten them with the ratchet, because obviously with a screwdriver it's a lot harder to screw those. So just be careful not to over tighten the clips with your ratchet if you use the ratchet, but obviously the clips are in such awkward places that it's a lot easier to use the ratchet rather than the flathead screwdriver. So anyway, you've been warned. Don't damage anything, or obviously you can damage your Jubilee clips, or even if you over tighten that, you can always, it could crack your housing possibly, I'm not sure, but it can happen, so be careful. So I'm pretty much done here. Now I need to add some coolant and start the car, start the bleeding process, and hope that that pump will start working, and also that there's no leaks. I topped up some coolant. Now I'm gonna start the car and we can see what's going on. So there's nothing coming out here yet. I just opened this bleeder valve. Obviously we need to get some water rolling here. The water needs to go around the system and start coming to this pipe. Now this pipe is empty at the moment, so that could take a little while. So you can see the water is going down, so you need to top up accordingly. And also check for any coolant leaks. Just to make sure you put all your pipes nice and secure. Make sure there's nothing leaking down there. So that's why I haven't put my tray down there yet. So it might take a little while here, but another thing is open your vents in the car. Make sure you start getting hot air as well. Get your blower on, put it on hot. That way you're getting rid of the air in the system. Okay, so I started getting water coming out of here. It didn't take too long, so be aware, because while the water was coming out, I was doing something else. But you can now see the water coming out there. But obviously I need to top up that and keep getting the engine to run. Literally until I'm gonna get it running, until the fan comes on. So far so good. I have very hot air coming inside the cabin now. This is working fine. The pump is pumping. And yes, I am waiting for the fan to come on because I want to make sure that car is not overheating and there's definitely no air in the system. So when the fan comes on, the coolant is going through the fan and obviously getting cooled down and then going back into the system. That way we can top up our water here accordingly, our coolant. And also I want to make sure that when it gets to that temperature, that really hot temperature, there isn't any coolant leaks. So that's why I'm doing that. And also I'm going to take the opportunity to delete whatever fault codes we found the other day when I was doing this. So I'm just gonna go ahead and clear all the codes now. And hopefully with that we should be good to go. This is still taking a little while to get hot, but to be honest, I think from this point on I'm not gonna film anymore. I think we get the point of what I'm trying to do. The pump is now working, we have the water circulating, and obviously if there's any issues I will let you know, but otherwise I'm going to start fitting that, checking for any leaks underneath, and that's it. So hope the video helps. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. So thank you for watching.